What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about 5 weird things about the Supra that kind of make you scratch your head a little bit. Yeah, there are just a few things on this car that kind of make me go, kind of wonder why they did that. Not exactly things that I hate, but definitely things that just kind of don't really make a ton of sense. Let's get started. 5 things that are just kind of weird on the car. Number 5. First thing, the door handles feel very plasticky. They kind of creak when you grab them. When you pull on them, they just don't feel very solid. There's some weird, just like, feels very plastic. It's kind of gone away over time, over the few weeks that I've had the car, but definitely it is one of those things that as soon as I grabbed the door handle the first time ever entering the car, I was like, wow. This unfortunately feels a little bit lower quality than I was expecting, especially coming from the M2 competition. The door handle on that car was super solid, and you grabbed it and you're just like, yeah, I'm opening the door. This one is just like, this might kind of break off. Number 4, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this problem a lot, is the wind buffeting. Now, the wind buffeting in the car is something that can be fixed. As you guys saw in a previous video of mine, you just add on these wind vortex generators and it takes care of the wind buffeting, no problem. You know, and it's not a very expensive fix. The ones that I got on Black Friday for about $130. It's not too bad. There are some other ones that essentially do the same thing on Amazon and eBay for about $30. It's a relatively inexpensive fix. However, it is still something that kind of makes us scratch our heads. Part of me kind of wonders that the reason why they did that, well, not the buffeting intentionally, but the reason why they haven't fixed it is because it's possible it messes up the aerodynamics of the car, and it's very possible that with the wind being redirected, we are creating a little bit of drag. So that is something that just kind of came to my mind. But yeah, let's move on. So another thing that does kind of doesn't really make sense is when you look at the infotainment screen. We have this really weird, it's angled kind of strange. It seems to be in a way pointed towards the passenger, which I find just kind of a little bit weird and something that, like, it really threw me off the first time I saw it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't see the infotainment, but definitely compared to the M2 competition, the infotainment was actually really leveled flat, like the line of the car and the sight of the driver. And it was definitely more pointed towards the driver. The fact, like in the Supra, for whatever reason, I look at it and it just looks like it's pointed towards the passenger. Now, I'm not really sure if that's because this car originally, because it's Japanese, is developed, you know, for right-hand drive cars, and they just kind of kept it because it looked okay, but it is just kind of weird. Like, it just looks a little bit weird, and I'm just not really sure why it's like that. So, number 2 on the list is I don't like the lack of customizable drive modes. Granted, I am coming from an M2 competition, so we had the M1 and M2 buttons. Not to mention, we could very easily change whether or not we were going to be in Sport, Sport Plus, or Normal, as well as things like steering feel, and if you have the DCT, the shifting response. Now, that can all be changed on the fly individually if you want to, just with a few buttons on the M2 competition. With the Supra, we only have the Sport button, and while that button specifically can be customized, I can't customize, there's no other button to customize a normal driving mode, right? So I can't necessarily say, you know, I want normal engine response with normal throttle response with open exhaust, right? There's no option for that, which I find kind of strange, because even Volkswagen, like on my girlfriend's GTI, my friend's GTI, just the normal driving mode, you can have the most aggressive exhaust, you can have tightened suspension while having normal engine and throttle response. The nice thing about the M2 competition is you had that same option with the M1 and M2 buttons. M2, I always had it in the most aggressive mode, you know, Sport Plus, MDM mode, things like that, and then M1 was Sport mode with comfort setting on the steering wheel and things like that. With like the M2 CS, you could probably even now do like comfort suspension with Sport on the M1, and then M2 is like Sport plus everything, right? So I do miss that. it is also strange too. It's just a weird decision why they decided to you know, remove that option, especially considering that even a car like the Hyundai Veloster N, you can customize having multiple drive modes, multiple selections. You know, there's N custom, there's individual, there's all the stuff that you can do to make it more you. And so I find that to be just a little, I wish I had that option back. And the fifth and final thing that is just a bit weird and a little bit low quality on this car is the wireless charging station for your phone. Just like the M2 competition, I find that the wireless charger, one, doesn't even really charge the phone that well. Granted, compared to the M2 competition, you can put any size phone in there because it's just like a small pad. Compared to the M2, there was, you know, you had to have a specific size phone to fit. But not to mention, it also tends to overheat my phone. The one time I did use it for an extended period of time, I found that the phone had a heat warning on it. That's not very good. That's not good for the battery. That can actually ruin your phone. And I just find it to be such a low quality charger, especially considering that you can get really good Qi wireless chargers for your phone on Amazon for like 20 bucks. In my old Focus ST, if you guys remember, I actually finagled and jerry-rigged my own specific wireless charging slot in that car using a $20 Qi wireless charger adapter that I got on Amazon, and that thing worked great. It didn't overheat my phone. It charged it really fast. This wireless charger does not charge my phone. I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max. It does not charge it that fast. And it just heats it up. I'm just not a big fan of it, and I like to use that space for my phone, so it just kind of sucks that I can't put my phone down like face up. I have to put it face down if I want to prevent it from charging. Other than that though, the space is pretty nice, but the charger itself is just absolutely garbage. I honestly would have preferred if they just removed it completely. I'm totally okay charging the phone with the USB cable. There is a USB slot right next to the station, so you know, you just get a small like 1-inch cable. No big deal. It's, you know, you can get those like anywhere. So you know, that does, unfortunately, is kind of just a weird choice. There's really no reason, especially nowadays, to not have a decent wireless charger in your car, especially for a car that's over $50,000. Like a car that you're paying over $50,000 for, if they're gonna add in a wireless charger, it better be good. But that's basically it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video about the 5 kind of weird things about the Supra. But definitely like keep those things in mind if you are looking to purchase one. To me personally, they're not deal breakers. Again, these are things that I just found are just a little bit weird, but they do affect the, you know, the livability of the car, you know, the enjoyment of the car a little bit, but not to the point where I don't like the car anymore. I actually absolutely love this car. The Supra is fantastic. It's easily one of the most favorite cars that I've ever owned, next to the S2000, which is very surprising to say, to be perfectly honest. But I'll do a different video on that another time. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.